Hey all, welcome to the channel. My name's Calvin and today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Star Valor. At its core, Star Valor is a dynamic space sandbox game. Think of X4 or Elite, but just in a 2D view. It's also a bit easier to get into than those games. I mean, you haven't got to learn all the flight controls and so on. But that's not to take away from the fact that it does have a ton of features, and they've also just released a brand new DLC that allows you to build your own bases. This game might not look much, the graphics aren't amazing, it's not going to win any awards for that, that's for sure. But there's a lot to the game. It's a massive dynamic galaxy where different factions fight in each other. You can get involved in the fights as well. There's a load of ships to choose from, there's a massive trade system. You build your own base and production line, there's loads of crafting, all the components to your ship and weapons and stuff like that we'll all take a look at. So yeah, let's jump into this and take a look. There are a few different game modes to choose from, including Station Defense, which is part of the new DLC as well. But we're just going to jump into the Streamer Casual one. It just speeds things up a bit so I can just level up a bit faster while I'm going through the video. You select a background, kind of, if you're a miner or if you're a pirate or something like that. You can unlock more as you progress through the game, so you can have a kind of totally different run through after you've done your first one, because you would have unlocked different background traits. Your starting background also gives you some points that you can spend on basically traits and your spaceship that you choose from. Now, your spaceship will cost a certain amount of points, and the starting kind of skills and experience will cost a certain amount of points as well. So it's a balancing act. Taking a bigger ship means you won't have any of the starting, as many starting points to use. Or if you use more starting points, you can get extra bonuses for your character as you play through the game. And some of the bonuses are pretty damn good, so it's a hard choice, really. For me, I probably like starting in a slightly smaller ship and getting more kind of skills, because it just gives you that bonus all the way through the game, which is really nice. The perks at the bottom you'll get probably in your next playthrough. Basically, every time you reach a static level point, like 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, you'll unlock an extra perk slot. And you'll also unlock lots of different perks as you play the game. So basically, every playthrough is going to be slightly different because you'll unlock different perks you can use. And yeah, it'll allow you to experience the game in different ways. So yeah, you start off with your little starting ship. You'll have a little basic tutorial down the bottom giving you the basic controls and so on. And you'll also start off with a little basic quest, which is kicking off the storyline to the game. Obviously, you can follow that if you want, or you can go off and just do your own thing completely. You don't have to follow the story at all if you don't want to. So you got your little HUD view here on the bottom left. Obviously, you got your little map. You got a little icon of your ship there with the weapons. Now, that'll show the heat of the weapons build up, so the longer you use a weapon, the more heat they'll get. Above that, you got your kind of control over your thrusters, shields, and weapons, how much power you put into each of them. If you ever played like X-Wing or something like that, those games where you could switch that around a bit. Then you got your speed, and then above that you got your kind of stats of the ship and the money you've actually got at the moment as well, and also your kind of XP bar, which you can see I need to level up. Here we got your skill system where you can progress in different types of skills. Here, these are ones you can actually put points into yourself. And they'll give you different bonuses the more points you put in and so on. The station's the main hub where you do trading, you pick up missions, you do crafting, you can equip your ship here, and you can store extra materials and so on for crafting. Obviously, as well as weapons and equipment you can buy for your ship, you can also buy new ships here as well. Each station will have a different selection of ships. Depending on what kind of faction the station belongs to, they'll have a different types of ships available as well. Some of the factions you've got to be friendly with to be able to buy the ships. And equipment as well you can buy. Equipment drops off ships you kill too, so it's, you can buy some here, you can craft your own, or you can wait until you loot some off ships. And you can actually gear up your ship here as you go along as well. And yeah, it's easy enough. Once you've bought the items that you want to buy, you can just go into the hangar section of the station and you can just equip these to your ship. Now, your ship has a certain amount of equipment slots, so you can't go over that. Same with weapons as well. equipments and weapons all have a certain weight and take up a certain amount of slots on your ship. So it's a balancing act. You know, you can't fit really big engines on a small ship or something like that because it just doesn't have the room. So yeah, it's definitely a balancing act just to get the right selection of equipment and weapons that you want to use for your ship. Let's quickly look at the skill system again. I've played through the game a bit here. I've got a lot more skills unlocked, as you can see. And you can stack points into each of these. And obviously every time you add an extra point into that, you'll get an extra bonus in that particular skill. But then you've also got basically your knowledge base. This is skills that you level up as you do them. So like geology, that's mining. And then you got explore, you get points in for kind of exploring the universe. And then tech level is for using different technology and allows you to use better weapons. And so on. So there's quite a nice selection here that you can level up as you go through the game. And then you have the perk system. You get these unlocked as you go through the game, and you can use them when you're starting a new game. And then we have the stats section, which shows basic overview of the stats of your character, and also your reputation with other factions. As you can see, I've allied up with Proxima Mining and the Syndicate. They'll give you access to their technologies, basically. So when you first start the game, you choose the size of the universe. Obviously, I chose the biggest here just to show it off a bit. So you basically start here with this fruit, and you basically see kind of what system is their main produce, with the little icons in the top left of the system. But once you unlock a tool for your ship, you can actually have the trading information as well on the right hand side. So when you visit each system, you know what they produce. That's great for when you're trying to get into trading, and it helps you kind of buy low and sell high. And you can also see here where there's yellow and green circles, they're friendly or neutral, and red ones are obviously for enemies. And you can also see that some of these systems, they've got like explosions and stuff going on. They're battles. You can jump in there and help defend the system against the pirate attackers. It's usually pirates that are attacking anyway. And that can be a lot of fun. So we'll have a look at one of those battles in a bit. And then you get the numbers under each of the systems. That's the level of the system. So that kind of allows you to know basically how hard each of those systems are going to be if you jump there. If you're level 1, you don't want to be jumping into like a level 10 system because you'll probably die. And then here we got the kind of in-system view. You can get to this just by pressing tab in the system you're in. And you see the fog of war. Basically, each of the systems you visit, you can explore it all, and you'll get XP every time you explore bits of it. And you'll get a big chunk of XP if you explore it all. And it'll also show here any kind of key sites in the system itself. Like you can see here, there's 2 asteroid fields. The asteroid fields will have a good amount of asteroids for you to mine. You also get wrecked ships and stuff that show up in a similar way that you can go and scavenge for materials. And this gives you a good idea of the different size of ships in the game. Though this isn't the biggest, but you know, it gives you a good idea. One of the new DLC features is base building. As you can see here, this is me a lot further in the game with a bigger ship. And I've built up a base here with some agricultural processing units as well. And you basically set up processing lines to produce different materials that you sell to make money. So it's just a constant way of you to make an income. Now, that sounds great, but the obviously downside to this is that your system will always kind of get attacked by enemy pirates, I believe they're called, as you can see here. And once this happens, you can either pay them off, or you can say, hey, no, I'm going to defend the system. And yes, you then have like a couple of minutes to kind of prepare yourself for the big fight to come ahead. Now, defending the base can be kind of a lot of fun. The combat in this is, you know, you just kind of point your ship at the ships and attack, and you'll fire in that direction depending on what kind of weapons you've got equipped. This ship I got has kind of got a forward-facing weapon as well as a turret that can move a bit, and my point defense systems on the side. You know, for whatever reason, I'm hitting the civilian ships here as well, but it allows me to actually unlock another perk, which I don't mind. But you can see here my turrets are also getting involved in the fight and killing these enemies. But that was quite easy, really. You do get some bigger ships as you get into the game and some much bigger fights. And obviously the level matters as well. So you do have to be careful when you are getting involved in these base defenses. There are boss fights as well in the game. Certain systems will have these kind of rogue AI, I think they're called in the game, where you've got to try and take them out. Now, they're very hard. I shouldn't have been trying to fight him in this little ship, but I just wanted to show what they were like. So yeah, I need to run away anyway. But, you know, he doesn't attack the civilian bases, so they don't attack him. So he's you can't use the base as a defensive platform for yourself, basically. Now, he drops really good loot for you, so they're definitely worth taking out. It's best if you're a few levels above them, I think, and with a slightly better ship than what I got here. Or at least better weapons, anyway. But they're definitely worth taking out. The loot you get good weapons from, you get good equipment, you get blueprints as well that you can use for crafting. So it's definitely worth having a go at them. Now, the crafting in the game is actually really interesting. You got a few different options. You got the blueprints, which are basically the base items that you can just produce straight up using resources, which is really nice. Is where you can make some really decent equipment. Then you've got ship enhancements as well that cost components that you build, and you can use those components to basically upgrade your ship in different ways. Now, these are linked to your ship, okay? So if you go and buy a new ship, you'll have to do it again. But you can upgrade your ship to make it really good. But the main thing I want to look at here, the most interesting part of it, is the weapon customization side of things. It's a really nice system they got here. You basically choose the core component of the weapon you want to make. So we're going to go with a Vulcan here, which is basically like a big chain gun for your ship. And this will give you, on the right-hand side, you'll see the base stats of a Vulcan core. You'll basically build a standard cannon. It'll give you the materials you need at the bottom and how much it costs. Now, on the left-hand side, you've got additional components you can add to the weapon. And this will modify it in different ways. So this one's a damage booster, so it'll up the damage a bit. You've then got, speed boosters, critical hit boosters that'll kind of boost the weapon in different ways. And each time you add one of these components to the weapon, it'll obviously add to the cost of the weapon and also increase the space it takes up. Your ships have only got a certain amount of space to equip weapons, okay? So you've got to be careful. You can't make the biggest weapon in the world and fit it onto any ship. You've got to make sure that your ship can take those weapons. And then we've got the modifiers. So modifiers are, again, modifications to the weapon. I think is quite clear. Here I've made it into a heavy version of the weapon, which ups the damage load. I make it a rapid fire version of the weapon that makes the DPS higher, but reduces the standard damage a bit. You can turn it into an overload, so it does a hell of a lot more damage on top. Now, each time you add one of these, it can increase the weight of the ship. It can increase the heat that the weapon produces, the amount of materials that you're using to produce the item. So, sure, you can make something amazing, have everything in there, but it's going to put the level, it's going to be so expensive to make, and the tech level is going to be so high, you're probably not going to be able to use it off the bat. But you can make lots of different types of weapons from this. I think you've got like 20 different cores to start with, and then all these different options to make different types of weapons as you go through the game. So it's a lot of fun and allows you to equip your ship with so many different weapons. It's just crazy. I think this has got to be the favourite part of the game for me, designing weapons and taking them out and using them. But yeah, as you can see, I just do a similar thing with the laser beam. Usually it's just like a short shot, like a Star Wars laser. But you can turn it into kind of a phaser with a continuous beam, and then you can overload it. Yeah, it's definitely a nice system and worth digging into. I just quickly wanted to show the ship that I got in game at the moment. I know it's like a boring shape, but there we go. And these are the weapons I got, and they take up 6 space each. The weapon starts on my ship at 18, so I've managed to fit some point defense lasers as well. And now you get crew in game as well in these bigger ships, and you can assign the crew to kind of auto-man the turrets, which I've done here. And that'll mean they'll just automatically attack for you when enemies come close. So that is a quick look at Star Valor, guys. I've not shown everything. I've just kind of scratched the surface here to give you an idea. I always find it hard to get videos looking good for these kind of 2D space games. They always seem a bit boring when you watch them, but when you get into the game, it is a hell of a lot of fun. Now, if you like the idea of kind of X4 or Elite, but you just don't have the time to get into the complexity of it, I think this is probably a good option. It's a lot easier to get into from the get-go, but it still does have the depth there. Maybe not quite as much as those other games, but, like I said, if it's something you want to get into quick, play now and then, I think this is definitely worth a look. It is a lot of fun and a lot to it. It's quite addictive as well. I actually ended up spending probably the best part of 30 hours playing this after making this video. And I've still not got very far into the game. I'm still at the very center of the universe where it's quite easy. The further you get out, the harder it gets as well. So yeah, it's good fun. I just want to say thanks to everyone for watching. If you do want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.